Now, in this video, we are going to solve sum number 2. It is question number 2 on page number 3. Estimating the cash flows. It's a Diebold parallel sum. We have been given that there is a company in Diebold that manufactures and services are automated not counting machines. We have been given the data from 2019 to 2020. So we have been given 2 years of data, wherein revenues are given to us, operating expenses, depreciation, hence I get my EBIT. Simple, revenues minus all these expenses, my EBIT, less interest expense, nil. When I say interest expenses are nil, that means we can safely conclude that even though it's not given to us directly in the sum, that there is no debt in the company. Then this will have a repercussion on everything. So please remember this, that interest is given as 0. So we can safely say that there is no debt in the company. And then we have the EBIT is EBIT minus I, that is this, less the taxes which has been given to us. So my part is EBIT minus the tax. I get the profit after tax. Working capital has been given to us. Capex has been given to us. We're just finding the, over here we are finding the ratio of working capital towards the revenues. So it means that in the year 2019, around 32% of my working capital was equal to around 32% of my revenue, which increased to 39% of the revenue in the year 2020. There are two parts to this sum. The part A says that please find the FCFE for both the years. So first, let us take part A. What is FCFE is very simple. The formula has been shared with you all. FCFE formula is PAT less 1 minus DR into Capex minus depreciation. When I say 1 minus DR, it actually means what? It is 1 minus the debt ratio. So it gives you the equity ratio. So what is the amount of equity in your capital structure? Now in this case, we had said that since there is no interest and there will be no debt, that means it will be over here 1 minus 0, that is equal to 1. So it will be 1 into Capex minus depreciation. Again, it will be less 1 minus DR, which is equal to 1 in this sum, into changes in the non-cash working capital. We are assuming that whatever is given to us is a non-cash working capital, okay, because we have nothing more than this given to us in the sum. So just we are applying the formulas over here. Please remember here, this 1 minus DR is not taken because 0 interest, 0 debt. So it's multiplied by 1. So once you apply this formula, what we get is that, what is this 180 rupees? Over here, 180 rupees, if you see in the sum, it is the amount of working capital that was there, the working capital in the year 2018. Okay. So what I've done is that I want to have change in working capital. So it is over here 175 minus 180. Just remember, it is change in working capital and not working capital. This 180 rupees is the working capital of the year 2019. So it's 2018. So 2019 working capital minus the working capital of last year will give me the change in working capital. So FCFE for the year 2019 is 43.6. Applying the same formula, in this case, we get the, now over here you can see the change in WC is 240 minus 175. So in this case, my FCFE turns out to be negative minus 21. So from positive FCFE, we have gone, this company has gone into negative FCFE, even though we have a positive PAT. Let us find out the reason for that. Okay. So we have been given the B part of the sum, which is that what would have been the cash flows to equity in 2020 if the working capital has remained at the same percentage of revenue as it was in 2019. So we say that we are going to find the revised working capital. So with revenues, we are going to multiply the ratio of the last year, which will give me that if I would have maintained the ratio, then my working capital would have been 199.5. However, you can see that the actual is 240. So now our role is to substitute this 240 by 199.45. So when I do this and I again use the same formula to find the FCFE, we can conclude that the FCFE is 19.55. So one important thing that you can understand is that it's not that always the PAT that might go up and down will impact your valuations. It is the investments also that you make in the Capex or working capital will impact your valuations on FCFE model basis. So in this case, we can find that Since my working capital had grown very high as compared to my revenue. Last year, it was only 32% of my revenue. This year, 39% of my revenue. So this led to what? This led to a negative FCFE, which will give me negative valuations. I cannot have valuations. But if I could have maintained last year's ratio over here, my working capital would have been 199.45 and my FCFE would have been 19.55. So that's all about this sum. I hope it's a very, very simple sum I have understood. And most of the complex sums we are going to solve in the class. Thank you so much.